takes us on a journey of a young girl who is in pursuit of a true identity and heritage while trying not to neglect her upbringing. Readers will come across themes such as challenges of adoption, race, cultural diffusion, and infertility as seen throughout this book. Now, Cathy is in our Sea Point Studios to tell us more about this read as well as becoming a first-time reader. Cathy, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
Let's give a brief synopsis to our viewers about what this book is about.
Well, The Reluctant Cuckoo is about interracial adoption. It is the story of Hannah, who is born from Nandi, a young South African girl, bright, ambitious, gets an opportunity to study medicine at university. And unfortunately, in her first year, falls pregnant and chooses to give away her child for adoption. And then there are Patrick and Fiona, who are the adoptive parents of Hannah, coming from Britain, living in South Africa, moving to South Africa because of the problems that they've had with infertility, and then subsequently adopting Hannah. And the story really is about Hannah's quest to discover her identity. Is she British? Is she South African? What about the culture and the people that she has left behind in her land, and how she tries to work out where she fits in?
Interesting title, though. What is the significance of the title?
The significance of the title really is about the whole birding metaphor. In the book, her adoptive mother is an ornithologist, and so we have little excerpts from her book about bird behavior. But really looking at the cuckoo lays its eggs in another bird's nest, and these eggs, the chicks, are then raised by the other bird. And that is really a metaphor in the whole adoption process of what happens.
Now, you've decided to take this adoption issue to another level where, you know, color and race sort of play a major role in this. Why is this issue so close to your heart, and why is this worth, you know, dissecting?
I think that it's really just such an interesting dilemma, and it's something which is happening a lot more in South Africa, and one is coming across a lot of interracial adoptions. And I just really like examining the subject because I think that there are so many challenges involved, but there are also tremendous blessings. And every time, in fact, I talk about my book with people will quote examples of people in similar situations. And it's just a wonderful thing to unpack and look at.
Why put it in a book, though, as a first-time author? I mean, what gave you the, you know, the courage to say, okay, I can put it down in a book and, you know, somebody will read it?
That's a tough one. It's just that I think that I enjoy human drama, and I enjoy looking at issues and difficult subjects and people's reactions. I like looking at what makes people tick, and what challenges them. And that's really why I wrote the book about adoption.
You know, how much of yourself or your life experiences are we going to find in this book?
It's an interesting question because I find, especially my family and people who know me well, look at me and say, was such and such a character based on this person? And nobody was really based on any particular person. But I think as you go through life, your life experience puts you in contact with a whole lot of different people. And so you pick up characteristics of different people, and they become part of your characters in your book. But it's not really based on anything in true life. It's research that I've done, it's people that I've spoken to, it's life experience in general.
Speaking of research, how did you balance all that out given, you know, your profession as a medical doctor and putting this book together? You know, what were the challenges?
Time is a challenge always, but I do work part-time. And so I have certain days that I dedicate to writing. I've always worked part-time, especially when my children were young, and now I have adult children. They've left home. And I have time on my hands that I'm able to use for creative projects.
And it's interesting when, you know, speaking to authors over the years, who's the one person outside of your publishers and your editors that you wanted this book to be read by and approved, give it a stamp of approval?
Probably my family.
How important, though, for your children to approve? for your children to approve?
Yes,
because you touch on a subject, that you can relate to as the British couple. They can relate to being a mother, and the medical student is also a mother, and you a mother yourself. It's important that your children sort of approve of what you've written down.
It is, and it's wonderful that they are reading the book and have read the book, and I enjoy discussing it with them.
Yeah. What do you want your readers to take away from this book?
I want them to take away the fact that interracial adoption, and adoption in general, it doesn't have to be interracial, is a tremendously satisfying thing. I think a lot of people battle with infertility, and when they come to the end of the road and they can't fall pregnant, they I often approach patients and say, have you considered adoption? And there's sometimes a blank face in front of me. And I just want people to realize that there are tremendous blessings in adoption, but that there are also a lot of challenges. So I want people to think about the complexity of the subject, but I want them to realize that in the end it can be an extremely satisfying experience.
And, what are some of the challenges, in your opinion, of adoption, let alone interracial?
I think there's always a challenge in not totally belonging genetically to another couple. You will find in researching there are basically two types of adoptees, the ones who really want to find out their roots and ones who have no desire to. But amongst those who want to find their roots, there can be a restlessness about wanting to find their parents, wanting to know where they came from. And I think that's very difficult to handle, both from the adoptee's side and also from the adoptive parents. There's a lot of insecurities, and I think that can be a problem.
All right. Dr. Cathy Donald, thank you so much for speaking to us. Congratulations on the book. Interesting read. And it is her debut novel, and it is titled The Reluctant Cuckoo, a read worth delving into if you love your books as much as we do on Morning Live. All right, let's take a quick ad break. Phil Hawkins will give you the weather after this. Stay with us.